honorable ministers, permanent secretaries, heads of institutions, representatives of international organizations and development partners, distinguished delegates, members of the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the validation workshop on the Gambia Enterprise Architecture held under the theme Building on Integrated Digital Government. With protocol duly observed, permit me to specially recognize the presence of Honorable Dr. Ismail Sise, our Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Lamu Jabi, Esquire, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Mukti, Honorable Babakar Bui, Minister of Public Service, Mr. Yankuba Dabo, Commissioner General, Gambia Revenue Authority, also known as GRA, Ms. Agnes Macaulay, Accountant General, Mr. Hassan M. Jallo, Permanent Secretary for Mukti, Professor Abdulkarim Jallo, Director General, Data, Mr. Ade Lapone, Lead Consultant, IT GovStack, Mr. Emmanuel Niyikora, Program Officer, International Telecommunications Union, Area of ITU, the Area Office for West Africa, as well as distinguished representatives from government institutions, the World Bank, the ITU, with technical partners, and stakeholders present here today. Your presence definitely reflects our collective commitment to advancing a modern, secure, and interoperable and citizen-centered digital government ecosystem for the Gambia. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all warmly welcome, and we thank you for honoring this important national engagement. And without further ado, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to formally welcome us and set this context for today's engagement, it is my distinct honor and privilege to invite the Director General of Data, Professor Abdulkarim Jallo, to deliver the welcome remarks and outline the objectives of today's conference.
Thank you, Zainab, for that brilliant introduction. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome all of you to this gathering today. Honorable Minister for Communications and Digital Economy, Honorable Lamu Jabi, Honorable Minister for Public Service, Honorable Babakar Boy, Honorable Minister for Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Ismail Sise, the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Mr. Yankuba Dabo, the Accountant General of the Accountant General's Department, Mr. Ari, Lead Consultant, and Greg Emmanuel, the Program Officer for ITU, other heads of government departments, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Mr. Jallo, the Managing Director of the Gambia Postal Services, Mr. Lamin Chan, the General Manager of GAMCEL, directors from the GRA, and all the Permanent Secretary, other directors from the ministry, staff from the ministry, staff from DICTA, and all other government officials present here. The media, thank you very much to all of you for coming here today. Today marks a defining moment in the Gambia's digital transformation journey. For the first time in our nation's history, we are establishing an enterprise architecture for the Gambia, a strategic blueprint that will guide how our institutions design systems, manage data, and deliver services and collaborate in the digital age. This is more than a technical achievement. It is the foundation for a more integrated, efficient, secure, and citizen-centered government. I remember always when we talked to the Minister of Public Service, he emphasizes how can we make our public services accessible to the citizens and residents of this country. I think we all know globally digital transformation is taking a rapid pace, and Gambia should not be left behind. And I think whilst we are here today doing the validation, that is what we need to be thinking about. How do we validate the architecture that is going to shape how we design, deploy, manage, and use those public services? Whenever I talk to the Accountant General, she reminds us, how do we make sure our systems are interoperable? She reminds us, how do we make sure we design, build, and manage systems sustainably, locally in the country here. Whenever I speak to my friend, my big brother, Commissioner General GRA, he always emphasizes, how do we digitize? And he always reminds us the digitization that GRA has been going through, which has changed how we collect tax and how we provide tax-related services to our citizens and our residents. When I talk to the Honorable Minister, I cannot tell you exactly, I cannot pinpoint exactly one thing that he emphasizes. But all that he emphasizes is we have no time. We have no time to digitize, we have no time to make sure our systems are interoperable. And for Honorable Minister Ismail Sise, he always reminds us that today we live in the digital world, in particularly social media, in particularly how we communicate with the public. And as a result, if you put all these together, the enterprise architecture has taken care of each and every one of the thoughts by these leaders. And as a result, this enterprise architecture was developed, I'm sure you will hear more about that, by the foundational tier 1 institutions which includes GRA, Ministry of Health, Accountant General Department, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, and of course, MOCTI and JICTA as the foundation. For many years, institutions have developed systems independently, resulting in fragmented and siloed platforms, duplication of investment, and challenges with interoperability and service delivery. So the enterprise architecture provides us with a common direction and shared standards to address these challenges and build a connected digital government. For JICTA, being the government technical arm for ICT systems design, deployment, and management, we are proud to have led this important national initiative, of course, under the leadership of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, and of course, the consultants, the ITU, GovStat, and with the funds coming funded by the World Bank through the WADI program, which is the Western Africa Regional Digital Integration Program. In particular, I wish to acknowledge the leadership of the continued support of the Tier 1 institutions. Your presence here today reflects the commitment, ownership, and partnership that we have characterized this process from the very beginning. This validation is therefore not simply about approving a document. It is about building national ownership. We need to own the document and use it in our design and deployment and management of our systems. The work ahead will require collaboration, commitment, and sustained leadership. But today gives us the confidence that we have and that we are moving in the right direction as a country. For the first time, as I said, that we are establishing an enterprise architecture. On behalf of the Gambia ICT Agency, on behalf of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, the ITU WADI, I warmly welcome you all and thank you for your continued support and partnership. And I wish all of us a fruitful deliberation and successful life.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Mr. Amin, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Honorable Dr. Dr. Ismail Sisse, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Mr. Babuka Boy, Minister of Public Service, Mr. Yankuba Gabon, Commissioner General of the GRA, Gambia Revenue Authority, Mr. Hassan Jalo, Permanent Secretary Mokdi, Professor Abdulkarim Jalo, the Director General ICTA, distinguished representatives of different governments, ministries, and institutions, group partners, World Bank and World Program, technical experts, and other guests. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol duly observed. Good morning and a warm welcome to this workshop. On behalf of the International Telecommunication Union, which is a United Nations specialized agency for information technologies, headquartered in Geneva, and which has a regional office in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, regional office that covers Africa. And here present, I also represent the ITU area office for West Africa that is based in Senegal. Allow me first to thank the government of the Gambia, especially GICTA, for its leadership, vision, and partnership throughout this process that started 12 months ago. I would also express my recognition and gratitude to different technical teams from what we call Taiwan ministries, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ministry of Health, the Gambia Revenue Authority, the Accountant General, and other partners. The digital transformation succeeds when institutions work together. So it's not GICTA or MOGDI that will make the digital transformation successful. All government decisions have to come together. And this is the objective of having an enterprise, one of the objectives of having an enterprise architecture. A national enterprise architecture provides a strategic foundation that has to align national priorities, policies, institutional processes, governance structures, data ecosystems, technology investments. It enables government to move away from fragmented systems to or isolated digital initiatives toward a coherent, which the DG has already spoken, secure and interoperable digital ecosystem. Without such an architecture, the ministries, I think this is what's happening across many African countries, where you find ministries, institutions continue to build systems independently. However much the system would be technically well-intentioned, but disconnected from one another, leading to implications and loss of limited resources that we have in our countries. At the same time, the national enterprise architecture provides a practical pathway towards implementing digital public infrastructure, DPI, which is the foundation for building digital government services, through shared usable building blocks to support the government services that will be built on top of the digital public infrastructure. This is precisely the vision reflected in the Gambia National Enterprise Architecture, where the DPI is the foundational layer, and then the digital services built by different government ministries and institutions, but later also by the public sector. So through the GovStack approach, which is an initiative that is piloted by the International Telecommunication Union, the Estonia, the GIZ, and the digital global impact. Governments can build once, that's the vision, to build once and reuse many times. So this approaches reduces the duplications that we are finding across different ministries, improves efficiency, promotes interoperable, strengthens digital sovereignty, and maximizes the value of public investment. That is a very key, maximizing the public investments. Distinguished participants, so the journey that's brought us here has involved extensive collaboration between the National Telecommunication Union, the DICTA, and the key Taiwan ministries. The technical assessments were done to understand the current status, the consultations with different government institutions, and to define also co-create the future aspirations and establish a common direction to the digital transformation of the Gambia. So the outputs that we are validating and endorsing today, there are five, and the technical expert will elaborate more on this. First is the enterprise architecture framework, which is a methodological foundation of building the enterprise architecture. The second component product that we validated is the future state architectures of the four Taiwan ministries, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry Mufti, and GRA. The third, with the future state architecture, there is also an implementation roadmap maps that define the pathways to realize the future architectures. The fourth is the digital transformation continuum products that is a structured transition journey from the current state to the future state. And then the final, most important product, which is the Gambia National Enterprise Architecture, which consolidates all these elements into a unified rule of government vision. So together, this deliverables represents a shared vision for a future digital government ecosystem that is integrated, interoperable, secure, efficient, and responsive to the needs of the Gambian people. This is the very important aspect, that all the systems that we need to focus on the citizens. How can we provide efficient, quality, and easily accessible government services to the Gambian people. So, however, why today represents an important mission, milestone of developing an enterprise architecture. Validation is not the final destination. The final destination. The value of an enterprise architecture will be realizing through implementation from now going on. So its success will ultimately be measured by not by the quality of the document you are producing today, but how effectively they guide our investment, national investment from different ministries, inform the public decisions from different also ministries and government institutions, strengthen collaboration among institutions, and improve service delivery for citizens and businesses, for citizens but also for businesses. Transformation is not achieved through technology alone. I think that is also an emphasis of Gambia. Technology actually, when you do statistics, represents 20%, but the remaining is determined by through the vision, the leadership, which we have no doubt that ITA is on top of it, and MOKI, the vision and the leadership, coordination among the different government ministries and institutions, and collective commitment. So the international telecommunication remains fully committed to supporting the governments across Africa and the Gambia in particular in leveraging GovStack approaches, developing national enterprise architectures, and implementing digital public infrastructures, advancing interoperable digital government systems. As we begin our deliberations today, I encourage all participants from different government institutions to engage actively share constructive perspectives and contribute towards a collective outcome that reflects national priorities and shared ownership. Let us view this workshop not as an end of a process, as the DG said, but the beginning of a new phase, one that focuses on action, implementation, and sustained collaboration. Together, we have an opportunity, all of us, to build a digitally enabled, interoperable, resilient, and citizen-centric government ecosystem for the Gambia, one that leaves no one behind. On behalf of the International Telecommunication Union, I extend our sincere gratitude to the government of the Gambia for the trust placed in this partnership, DICTA for the leadership demonstrated throughout the process, especially the Professor Abdul Karim and all the technical experts, Usman, Jibril, and all others. We thank you for your collaboration. And the other ministries also that we work together, we thank you for your availability and collaboration. ITU stands ready to continue supporting the Gambia, not through validation, but even beyond implementation, capacity building, knowledge sharing with the other African countries, and future digital transformation initiative. I look forward to a day not far from now when the citizens of the Gambia experience in their daily life, in their daily activities, the transformation that we are discussing today. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Another round of applause from Mr. Nyekome. Thank you, Mr. Nyekome, for your continued support and partnership with the Gambia's digital transformation agenda. And I would like to welcome the Commissioner General for the Gambia Revenue Authority to give his remarks on digitization. Please put your hands together.
Thank you, Madam MC, for giving me the floor. I also want to join the previous speakers to recognize the members of the high table, starting from the Director General, my brother, Professor Abdul Karim Jallo, and running to ministers that are here, the chief ministers, as well as the previous speaker, as well as the Accountant General, and all the distinguished ladies and gentlemen that are here present. I want to say Assalamu alaikum and good morning to you all. It is indeed a privilege and honor for me to be on this stage to give a few remarks about today's day. As it is stated on the board over there, one Gambia, one architecture, and one digital future. This is the world. The world is going into that direction, but we are in a digital world. Whether one accepts it or not, but that's the reality. Back in the days, everything that we do is based on the manual work. And as I always said, the people, our older brothers, our parents, our fathers, grandparents, they were hardworking and they have a lot of ideas. But because the technology was not there as it is here today, that it makes the job completely different. We bring it back to GRA level where we have people who are very dedicated, sincere, and love their country. They work both day and night to achieve great things for the country. But how far have they gone in terms of mobilizing revenue from the government? It was very limited. If you remember 10 years ago, at the level of GRA, the previous directors and the management that were there could hardly collect $1 billion for the whole year. And these are very people who are very cheesy, very hardworking, they love their country. But because they lack the technology, and they were doing virtually everything on manual, the entire year collections will be less than $1 billion. We even up to 2006, the total revenue collection at GRA was less than $3 billion. 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, it's around 3 billion per year. What happens later? We brought in technology, everything has been revolutionized. One single month, we are able to collect over 3 billion taxes from the government. This is not a job, it's seriousness, dedication, and love for the country. But one thing that made us achieve that is technology. We believe in technology, and we make sure that we work with our colleagues, the sub-region, international, to make sure that what is happening in those countries, we try to bring it back to the Gambia. This is why we are getting the results. This is why the government is really pushing us hard to do even more. Now, over the years, we brought in a lot of technology that helps us in the job, ranging with even digital tax stamps. When all of you have a bottle of water in front of you, there's a technology on that. Each of these bottles of water that you have, on top of it, if you see there's a stamp, there's a tax stamp. What does that tax stamp signify? What does it mean? It means that every water that is produced in this country, GRA knows where it is produced. It means that every bottle that is produced, GRA knows the date the water was produced, the name of the company, and the tax that should be paid is also collected. So you see the benefit of technology. At the same time, GRA knows every bottle of water that is imported into this country. Because you cannot take the water out without applying the digital tax stamp. This is one of the powers of technology. And then above that, we have a range of other technologies that we have in place in digital form. We have the e-tracking systems that is in. Back in the days when we import goods, we have traditionally export. Human beings have to follow trucks, containers to their final destination. Today, we have technology where we have a stamp, a tracking system that is attached to each truck or container that's coming in or going out of this country. And once that digital track is put on the container, the people are sitting at one place, they see the movement of the goods. Wherever you go into the country or out of the country, you see it. If you make a mistake to stand in one place more than 30 minutes, the system will alarm, indicating that there's something happening. And then the enforcement will follow. This is used because of the technology. Technology has gone so far that now, at the level of the port, when somebody is importing goods, you have your correct document. You can do your declaration with your agent and process everything to the payment, collect your container, pass it to the scanner, and nobody will talk to you. You will not talk to anybody. But you do it by your own. This is because of technology. Digitalization has taken us far beyond what we are expecting. We, at the level of GRA, are doing our things. Of course, in consultations of big data. I know other institutions, government departments are also doing a great work in terms of, digitalization. But there has to be a coordination in all these things. And that's what JITA is trying to bring over. So this workshop is very important. This validation is very important. For me, I think it's long overdue. We should have this long time ago. But they said it is never late. I am happy that today we are here. JITA is taking the lead to make sure that we have that coordination, we have that understanding, and we speak to each other. Because we cannot be isolated, we cannot be islands in our own country. It's one Gambia as it is, one architecture, one digital feature. All of us, what we are doing, when you come to GRA, we have different platforms in terms of digitalization, things that are making our work easier. We're coming with the iTax. That will help, that will touch the life of everybody in the country. Because the iTax will give you the opportunity, like the Asikuda one is doing now. The iTax will give you to do your own registration for business or any other thing you want to do, and it will give you opportunity to do your own filing instead of coming to GI. It will give you opportunity to do your own payment. And for those of you who are maybe interested in tax reform, with the iTax coming up, you can reform, you can do that through the system. But all these things, we want it to be coordinated in such a way that digital will spearhead everything. What we are doing, we should have an opportunity to interface with the Accountant General, with the ministries, various ministries, with all the institutions, so that instead of you people moving from one place to the other, we can all work under one umbrella. By a matter of using the digital platform, you can achieve a lot of things without moving. It is wasting time when we stand in isolation. We may think that we are succeeding, but we are not succeeding. The only success will come for the government if we all work together with data to make sure that we interface our systems and we can achieve efficiency. Efficiency is what we are looking for. We are looking for efficiency, transparency, and accountability in what we are doing. And that is very, very important and it's very key. When we do things manually, we are getting a lot of disadvantage and a lot of things are not done properly. But when you digitalize, the first thing it brings is efficiency, transparency, and accountability in our work. And that is what the government wants. The governments of the day, like any other government globally, they want to have transparency, accountability in whatever they are doing. And the systems can bring that. We must embrace the systems. We can never go back again. It's forward ever. The country has this, the love and the efficiency in the digital platform. And therefore, there is no turning back. I believe all other institutions that are here, institutions that will be making presentation, and those of you who will be involved in validation of this, one thing you should have in mind is that at the end of the day, we should all try to work with JITA. Because JITA is here to stay, and JITA is here, and Mobile, they are here to stay, to help us to transform this economy, to transform this government into a digital platform. This is the picture of the world. There is all the developing countries. This is what they are working towards, to be in the digital platform. The developed countries are developed simply because they are able to achieve one platform where most of the transactions, if not all, is digitalized. You step into a developed country, developed world, be it Europe or America. At the airport, you step in, all your information are taken. Everything you do, you may not know, but the moment you step in, they have you in their system. They know everything about you. And that is why when those who decide to stay, they are not coming back. You think they don't know. They know. They know they enter into their country. They have everything. Maybe they have no interest in you, per se, and that's why they leave you. But if they are interested in you, they will figure you out wherever you are. This is because of digital economy. So those developed worlds are developed because they embrace the digital economy. They are living within the digital economy. Whatever they do it, they digitalize it. Whatever you do in the developed world, link it to the taxation. Even the Ubers that you use in the developed world, they pay their taxes. You go to the store, they link, you pay their taxes. Whatever you do is linked and the taxes are collected. So this is exactly the replica we want to see in this country. And the only institution that can help us to achieve that is JITA. And therefore, I would like everybody to give them support, to work with them, to make sure that we achieve the digital platform we want to take this country. I thank you all very much for your attention.
I know that round of applause was for to ask you to give him another round of applause for his part. I think this next one should be for Victor, everyone. A round of applause, especially for Victor. A great thank you so much, Commissioner General, for those amazing words that you just said here today. And thank you for highlighting the importance that government institutions have towards the people of the nation of the Gambia, and for highlighting the services and the positive things that you're doing to make sure that the Gambia is also a part of a growing digital world and digital economy. So we really, really appreciate all the work that you do, not just you, but everyone else here present today. And again, another round of applause for everything. So distinguished guest, digital transformation, as we all know, honestly, is ultimately about improving governance, efficiency, and public service delivery. It is therefore my distinct honor and pleasure to invite the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Babakar Boy, to deliver his remarks. Mr. Boy, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, MC. Honorable Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Honorable Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Dr. Ismail Sisi, Permanent Secretaries here present, Commissioner General, Gambia Revenue Authority, the Accountant General, DG Dicta, ITU consultants, participants from various ministries, departments, and agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Before I go to my speech, the DG Dicta made reference to the usual discussions we have. Yes, he's right. And the reason for it is, I always say to people, the gentleman that is in Bolava, or the lady that is in Yankui, or the old man that is in Fast Java, if they want, for example, a passport, they don't care what processes are involved for that passport to reach them. What they care about is how and when the passport is available to them. They don't care about what government does. All that they want is the passport. If they want, like a Serabule man wants to lease his compound, he doesn't care whether DRA collects the tax or Ministry of Justice provides the tax stamp, or the Ministry of Lands does the, what they call it, land use report. What is the lease document? How we organize ourselves for that to happen, I think is what Victor is trying to help us do in the modern way. That is digitalization. And for me, unless that happens, I will continue making that point anywhere. Especially if I know that the person that I'm talking to has, something to offer for it to happen. So therefore, it is a pleasure to join you today at this important validation workshop for the Gambian National Enterprise Architecture. As the ministry responsible for public service management, administrative reforms, human resource management, policy coordination, and performance delivery across government institutions, the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms, Policy Coordination, and Delivery strongly recognizes the importance of this initiative and fully supports its objectives. At the center of public service reform is a simple but important goal. That is, improving how government serves the people of the Gambia. Citizens expect services that are efficient, responsive, transparent, accessible, and accountable. Achieving this requires more than policy reforms alone. It also requires modern systems, coordinated institutions, reliable data, skilled public servants, and strong digital foundations that enable government institutions to work together effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, for many years, one of the major challenges faced by governments globally, including ours, has been the existence of fragmented and siloed digital platforms developed independently by institutions, often without common standards, shared governance frameworks, or interoperability mechanisms. The result has been duplication of systems, inefficiencies in service delivery, limited coordination, difficulties in data sharing and integration, and in some cases, dependence on proprietary solutions that create vendor lock-in and long-term sustainability challenges. This is why the national enterprise architecture is both timely and necessary. The enterprise architecture provides governments with a common blueprint and shared direction for digital transformation. It establishes standards, governance principles, and interoperability mechanisms that will guide how systems are designed, procured, integrated, secured, and managed across ministries, departments, and agencies. From a public service and administrative reform perspective, this framework is critical because it supports 1. Better coordination and collaboration across government institutions. 2. Improve efficiency, accountability, and responsiveness in public service delivery. 3. Stronger performance management, monitoring, and evidence-based decision-making. 4. Standardization and harmonization of government processes and systems. 5. Enhance institutional effectiveness and resource optimization. 6. Improve records and data management across the public service. And 7. More sustainable and cost-effective digital investments aligned with national development priorities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a modern public service, which I am trying for us to have, cannot function effectively when information remains trapped in disconnected systems, or when institutions operate digitally in isolation, as we currently have. Integration, interoperability, shared standards, and coordinated governance are now essential requirements for effective public administration and citizen-centered service delivery. This initiative, therefore, aligns directly with government's broader public sector modernization and administrative reform agenda, particularly our efforts to strengthen institutional efficiency, improve service delivery standards, enhance coordination mechanisms, and build a more professional and results-oriented public service. I therefore commend the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, the Honorable Minister of Digital Economy, the DG DICTA, the International Telecommunications Union through the GovStat initiative, and the World Bank through the DTFA World Program for leading and supporting this important national initiative. The Ministry of Public Service remains fully committed to supporting reforms and initiatives that modernize government operations, strengthen institutional performance, improve interagency coordination, and ultimately enhance the quality of services delivered to the Gambian people. As we validate this enterprise architecture today, Let us remain focused on the broader objective, and that is building a public service that is modern, integrated, efficient, resilient, and capable of meeting the evolving needs of our citizens and our national development agenda. I wish you all a productive deliberation and successful outcome. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause, everyone. Thank you very much for that really insightful speech. He used an example regarding the Sorobolans, and I am one of them. I can't even be offended because I really can't attest to the fact that they only want to see the final product. They don't care about the process. And I think he really has highlighted a very important point whereby we really have to be the ones to focus on the process, making sure that they get exactly what it is that they want at the end of the day, and not having to worry about how it took us to get there. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Boy, Honorable Minister, for those really important reflections on public sector transformation and institutional coordination. Next on our agenda, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, I don't think needs any introductions at all. Under his leadership, we believe the National Digital Transformation Agenda continues to gain momentum through initiatives focused on innovation, connectivity, interoperability, and digital governance. It is my distinct honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Honorable Lamin Dabi, to officially
Good morning. The Honorable Ministers for Public Service and Information, Media and Broadcasting. The Commissioner General, our one very special brother and in-law, the Accountant General, how I wish we have some more ladies here. And of course, our brother Emmanuel Niyukora, workers amazing Murigan. At least an opportunity for my people to know I can also speak a bit of Kinyarwanda. And I'm very happy that he's here as the lead consultant because he's from a country that has done it and we've seen it. And when they were doing it, I was there. Thank you for coming here. My very able permanent secretary. His footprints are everywhere in the ministry, and thank you for being there. With your deputies and very dedicated directors, I'm really proud to have you. Sincerely. The staff of JITA, you can see you are taking us to the promised land. And of course, our very special ladies who are telling us that there is vision, telling us that there is light as well at the end of the tunnel. And those are who? Gampost, Gamtel, and Gamcel. Frankly, I believe in you, and I You just have to do it, and we believe you can do it. To all the senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, our special sisters and brothers from the media, without you, our message is never relayed properly. Thank you for coming. Today is a special day, and I really wouldn't want to use any script. That's right. See, of all the sessions and of all the workshops and seminars we have held in the past, I do not want to compare. But if you ask me as if they were all our children, this one is a special one. Enterprise architecture workshop. Because it speaks to digital transformation. But let's go back and ask ourselves, what is this digital? It's a dig, you understand it. What is it? The baseline is on decision making. Let's not forget, 4 parameters I want us to outline, and that's going to be possibly guiding your discussions on the document before. Decision making through a transaction process with engagement and communication that translates into value. That is what digital actually represents. Now, that decision-making transformation to a process that is also through communication and engagement, giving us value. The question is, if that value is the answer to the word digital, what value are you to? That value is exactly summarized, or was exactly summarized by the Commissioner General. Those days are gone when we do just anything for nothing. All those countries that are thriving and that are succeeding and that are leading or pace, at least being the pacemakers, every unit of their time, every second of their time, they are involved in what we call value creation. You certainly would need a strategy for that. You would need an infrastructure for that. You would need a framework for that. In that totality, the enterprise architecture now would represent the master platform of all platforms. You build it, and it builds you. So as it is a workshop, it's about work and creation. It's about collaboration. It's about doing the right thing and the great thing out of this document. It is true not that we can be born, if I can use the term, in perfection. But we must never get the foundation wrong. If I can go back slightly to the statements of William Butler in 1990, which was also quoted by Chinua Achebe in his book, Things Fall Apart. When it says, toiling and toiling in the white garden, the falcon cannot hear the falcon. Things fall apart and center cannot hold. Mere energy is used to control. That was what we're talking about. In other words, state functionalities and failures. If we cannot centralize things and put all our efforts together and have it right, we are bound to fail. That is why, for today's session, the benefits of this EA enterprise architecture. The first fundamental requirement or expectation is cost reduction. Cost reduction on the part of government, cost reduction on the part of businesses, and cost reduction on the part of almost every player in the social economic system, the social system, all of us. The second one would be the agility, that is standardization. What is happening across the government? We have said it. You go to Ministry of Agriculture, they have their own systems. You go to health, they have their own systems. You go to education, they have their own systems. As far as even gender and social welfare, their own systems. Not to talk of even governance process itself within our various respective ministries. And thirdly, the processes sometimes do not see eye to eye. Even though the intention is there, the papers are there in black and white. The infrastructure sometimes do not even speak to one another. They are not seeing eye to eye. Surprisingly, 90% of that infrastructure, in fact, is not being controlled by ourselves. You go to some of them and say, what about this app or whatever that you are using? They will tell you, we do not have the APIs. You want to use it, but you don't have direct access to it. One classical example, Lord, we can list it. Why do we have our cancer institution where it is today? Even if you can buy your own billing system, but the access to that system is controlled by outside. When they left, everything came down. We want to make all these things things of the past. That agility is key. So when you are looking through this document, please, all of you intervene. Don't limit yourself. Just because you are a director, you are not the head. Or just because you are a deputy, you are not the head. Or just because you are possibly maybe just a manager or a logistics officer. Let us make sure that the workshop is open. Take part more in it we need. The third very important reason is risk mitigation. It's too much. Risk within the governance process. Sometimes what we send out, or sometimes what we see there happening or hear happening, and what is actually on the ground happening is very different. But there are those great men when they know that something is wrong, they come back and rectify it, you see the impact. And that manifestation lives with us here today on this item, many of them, especially in the past of the Commissioner General. The records speak for themselves. He told you, on record. By 2006, up to 2000 and whatever, we were collecting how much? Barely under $1 billion Gambian dollars. The rest what we do, we go with our plates and bowls and other things. Many containers are made. To many development partners, begging for certain things. Because we want to make sure that our budget is fully funded. But today, that transition, or should I use the word transformation, from 3 billion, 1 billion or 3 billion in a year, to over 20 billion in a year. That speaks for itself. And it says simply they are using technology. Thank you, CJ. And they are doing all this when there's a lot of segmentation. There's no serious integration. And you'll be surprised why I said I'm happy that my brother is here from Boazet. Yes, I'm aware it's representing the IT, but I see one day in force. Kigali, you go to the airport. This is something I witnessed. I went with a colleague and wanted to press the cloth to wear because the other ones were having a problem. Just as we were entering, we wanted to change. Just to press the cloth, real time. As we started pressing the cloth, the payment is done. Tax Revenue Authority, they were there. Real time. I am not saying you want to travel as far as when you go to the toilet, you floss and you pay tax. No. But I am saying that anything that is taxable must be taxed and be paid for. The world is changing. People are now looking from within, inside. All development partners, they are now reluctant because their support base is also weakening. You go to the IMF, you go to the World Bank, they are using other people's monies to help. Those people are now not contributing significantly like before. Do you want me to blame the United States for what decision they are taking? No. They are simply looking at their national interest because of the changed geopolitical realities. We must also adjust ourselves and pull up our socks internally and start looking at those things. This EA, I believe, would facilitate that. And lastly, strategic alignment. I think that is important. Because if we want to all work in silos, nothing will happen. Now, where should our emphasis be? Because technology now is not owned by anybody, exclusive monopoly of anybody. No. The monopoly is in those who have the capital, the money, the resources. If you don't generate your own resources internally efficiently, well, you can't move as fast as you want to move. So let us be ready to say, yes, this EA, enterprise architecture we are developing, that is the orientation we are looking at, these 4 areas. All other things that will come after, you can define them in a teleological form, causing the effect and the cause, or mixing them here and there. It's not important. What is important is we have to get it right. And therefore, you will see in the course of your discussions, a lot of the content tables there, if I want to go through that, I'll bore you. But I think I want to finish with 3 important things. The first thing is, where must be our emphasis? What do we want as a country? The advisor said it here. For it to be effective, it was very clear. For it to be effective, it's not the document itself, it's the impact of the implementation. So look through that document, what you need. The first thing is the capacity. And that is bi-directional. The capacity of those institutions you want integration for, and the capacity of the people who would be called upon to work for the institutions or on the institutions. Look for it inside. Capacity number 1. Number 2, what is the value? The resource. Because I believe that the revenue we are collecting today, or the losses we are making, or like others will call it, how they dropped. Some will call it depreciation, whatever form. We want to call it. But I believe what we are collecting today as a tax, collectible tax, believe me, you. If we have a successful, a very effective EA, and we implement it effectively, and everybody understands its implementation, we can actually double or triple the tax we are collecting as a country. So that is the second focus. The last focus is this. Please, it is technology. We have to accept there's always a lead. And for that lead to be effective, that is data, look at the engagement parts in the document. Whose role is what and who should give it what at what point. That alignment is fundamental. If we do not get the alignment right, we will not go anywhere. And as far as we are concerned, as a ministry, our focus is, it is not going to be business as usual. We will put our full force behind three very important units or segments of our political system, economic system. And those segments are on this high table here. Revenue Authority, Public Service, Accountant Generals, and the way we generate the information to the public for them to understand what is happening. That's communication, communicating the value. To that, I think we have reached a point where, with your permission, and I thank all of you, I can now hereby declare the workshop open. No questions.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for officially opening today's validation workshop and for reaffirming government's commitment to building an integrated digital government ecosystem. Another round of applause, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the official group photograph session. May I kindly request all dignitaries and everyone present, speakers and participants alike, to follow the guidance of the organizing team to take you to the garden to take the group photo. Everyone, please. Please follow